Ultra's complexion is also looking worse. Finally, the flow stops. A Sarka soldier will give everything for his liege, not only his blood. Their skin shrivels, and finally, they collapse.
It's been an honor and a privilege, man. You stood with me to the end. We will meet again among the myriad souls. I told you the skeleton isn't a place to escape. It isn't a place to survive anymore.
Hurry! We need to take cover in the cabin! The illusions are already manifesting. We don't know where they might go. It's creating waves. Look out!
Where does the vampire want to take us? Orderer?
I'm here, with her. She's lost too much blood. Whether or not she lives is all up to her now.
You might as well leave me outside, Orderer. I'd rather die with my men. You've killed so many old friends. There is no way you suddenly grew a heart today.
We can use you.
I told you the skeleton's out of my control now.
You also said you're loyal to the Commission. If you think the military commission is the hope for Khazda to become a nation, then why is that guy calling himself a regent? Why does he need Theresa? Why does he think winning this war will secure a future for Khazda? What is Theresa's thinking? Whatever, we'll talk after we take down this Faramut.
What are you going to do?
Our goal hasn't changed. We're going home.
Home? That was supposed to be the skeleton's last mission.
What?
It has a name. We codenamed it Lifebone. Nobody uses it much, but when General Manfred named it, he was talking just like you.
Just like me. Manfred.
We're enemies, so I'm done with questions. I'm just gonna wait to die. Well, I guess making it to today is kind of an answer. You really think General Manfred is blind? That he doesn't know what you're up to? I mean, you can only talk about going home if you manage to survive your run-in with the Sanguinarch.
You're right. So, I'm gonna borrow your watch. Perhaps due to her blood loss, Ultra is basically powerless to resist. Orderer takes the lovely pocket watch without any trouble. Its gold metal case is engraved with intricate witchcraft runes. The watch is ticking backwards. A murmur that no one else hears fills his mind for a moment. It really is louder than I imagined. Orderer grits his teeth and leaves behind the loud whispers. He searches within it for the true dormant consciousness of the Faramut. Faramut who wanders this land, you are not dead. You've decided to continue your existence in a different way. You're still here, aren't you? At the center of the disaster, the silent Faramut slowly swims. Where it wanders, there is only ruined emptiness. The past lifts it, and the future is separated by it. A figure stands in front of it. Stop, Faramut. You are about to step into Khazda, our city. The people here refuse your visit. Choose another path, or else the Sarkas will slaughter you. This is your only warning.
Very well. My brother directed us to forbid its advance, to obey the will of the King of Sarkas. Sanguine Court, to me.
Powerful witchcraft condenses in the vampire's hands and a giant crimson spear falls from the sky. One massive wound after another pierces it. The silent Faramut finally speaks, as if waking from a dream. Kosdal. Oh, I may have slept for too long. Kosdal, when did it become a city? You're King of Sarkas. Is he not your sole chosen leader? Why is he not standing before me? An image that all have forgotten is shattered by the moving Faramut. It has not roamed in centuries. It gently moves its fins, now only bleached bones, pushing through layer after layer of space. The one who once killed it now bestows warmth upon it again. The skeleton searches for a suitable place to stop. Until finally, the massive skeleton hovers over an endless sea. The cave, the battle, and even the slowly rising sun are nowhere to be seen. Instead, there is only a calm sky, a calm sea, and calm stars. All the cruelty that occurs on the continent seems to have never existed here. This is beyond the horizon, beyond civilization. This is what remains of the skeleton for the Prince of Blood to find at last. An untouchable realm. The Crimson River connects with a dark blue nerve and intertwines tightly. The slender murderer closes his eyes and feels the pounding rhythm of his victim. With blood for reins, he harnesses the creature that can only wander through history. After those illusory visions and memories of the past, you've indeed brought me a more valuable scene. Why don't the two of you, in the face of such a scene, fizzle those frankly laughable arts in your hands? Have a look around, take some time to admire it all. This is the tomb I have chosen for you.
It was daytime just a moment ago, but here, a dark night and an endless sea.
The stars are changing. I've never heard of any place like this, not in any records, not in any legends. So this must be distant enough, yes. I do wonder how far we are from Kosdal now. This land they all call Terra, is it too vast or is it too small? Amiya, be careful. His blood, it's sublimating. He's awakened his blood with that witchcraft. Don't talk like an outblood banshee.
You know, I treat purebloods as equals.
Perhaps when compared to the Crimson Court, which has spent eons seeking purity, you have been more deeply influenced by Virginium. But, well, among the Sarkas you are indeed quite formidable. Come, let's not be stingy with my blessing. You cannot reject my gift. Now that I've awakened your power, you are finally worthy of facing me. Let me hear the screech of your knell, if it can still darken the moonlight. Crimson ripples spread, and at this moment the sky is no longer the sky, nor is the sea the sea. They are only refractions of blood, reflections of blood. The Sanguinarch smiles faintly, a blood soul pumping like a heart in his palm, reflecting the face of the young Banshee in a structure as deep as life itself. And then the blood soul shatters. I have right, therefore I command. The night conceals me from death. Another incantation. Another of your shallow incantations. You have talent, no doubt about that. The flapping of your lips and the doodles of your bone pen are enough to humiliate the so-called Originium arts of common people. And yet, why do you resist your heritage so? Show me your true self, King of the Court Banshee. Duakarel, Sanguinarch of Vampires, Prince of all blood, demands you show your true self.
Enough, vampire! Hold on, Logos!
Black hearts erupt from the girl's hand, parting the sea of blood. But the blood does not yield, it roars. The King of Sarkas' arts dissolve and shatter, and the red surges even more intensely. Oh, King of Sarkas, I nearly forgot you were here. Kautos, King. Look at you, you didn't receive even a scrap of my boon. Kautos' blood, tedious and ordinary. No matter how hard I try to scrape something together, I can't find a shred of talent or power. I can't even say that your blood is mixed or impure, as those adjectives still imply an expectation of return to purity. But you... Huh. There are chaotic bloodlines I approve of, but they are without a doubt all formidable or magnificent. But what do you have? A laughable motivation? A shallow conviction?
I don't have to answer you. I just have to defeat you.
Is this our King of Sarkas? Just stealing a bit of attainment from another chaotic and disorderly? Nothing even on the level of the Banshee's little tricks born of his rebellious mind. Even less than that pair of siblings. Amiya, don't let him provoke you. As it stands, his power is still growing. We need to end this fast.
I know. We need to get back under clear skies.
In the past, I once slew a so-called King of Sarkas, and it wasn't particularly difficult. And I suspect your end will be the same this time. You question me with black blades. I answer you with the gift of death. Well then, we have arrived at an interestingly looking place that is apparently also beyond civilization itself. But, alright, before we head into our battle stage now, we do have our big bad to announce here. Duke Arael, Regents Crimson, the host of the Crimson Court and master of all Bloodborne. A drop of Tika's blood once flowed through his body, and its last remaining purity has returned to the land. Now he has his sights set on the King of Sarkas once again. He smiles, declaring that he has already slain one such king, and plans to bid farewell to the final one. Alright, we shall do so, and we shall do battle with our big bad, but again, on standard difficulty, it's way easier to set up. So, let's head in. Theme is pretty much the same. Let's progress. Once again, I will not be speaking over it, I will let it do its thing. However, this guy is very tanky. And even if you utilize the... well, if you do it with, you know, like I'm doing it right now with story relevant units, it will take a tiny bit. But he is very tanky. He can take the punishment, but you can make him vulnerable by hitting him with the, you know, the payload bombs that you keep pushing across the lines. When they hit him, he becomes vulnerable, so he is much easier to kill. Still, he has a ton of defense and HP, so I will keep the entire fight just on double speed, because otherwise we're gonna be sitting here for a while. And yeah, anyway, let's begin. Well, Indra, I don't know, you were not part of this battle technically, but sure, let's go with this. Anyway. We have dealt with the battle, so let's go back to this and continue on with the after scene. Enjoy. Blood rain falls incessantly, as if it will never stop. Logos and Amia's shoulders have been soaked red by the rain. The white-haired vampire, however, seems to stroll casually under the rain, completely spotless. Look at the sorry state of yourselves. Lost in confusion, losing sight of what matters. Even if no one answers your cries, you can't waste the stage you've been given. Don't waste your chance at a grand farewell. I stated, therefore it is prescribed. The wind and rain cease, deprived of the right to flow. The moment the words are spoken, the blood rain freezes in midair. Like curtains, like stars, it refracts the sorrow of the sea, the brilliance of the moons. The Sanguinarch squints, seemingly unsurprised by the incantation of the Lord of the Banshees. Rather, it is as if he is appreciating a piece of art, drawn between heaven and earth. You've halted the surging? Impressive. Blood pauses at your command. But I am its master. The suspended beads of blood suddenly burst in the air, splattering anything they can reach. The knell will decay, the order will wear, no? If you so disdain your noble blood, I might as well extract it and return it to your mother, Banshee. She will play for you a mournful whistle. Amia! The vampire only gives Amia a momentary opportunity, but it is more than enough. Amia's palm presses against the vampire's body, sticky blood burning her palm.
Is this your blood? Heated by arts, heated by your talent. But the hot blood I've seen has all been for the sake of resistance, for the sake of life. And those people, their blood is much hotter than yours.
Black lines burst from Amia's palm, piercing through the vampire's body. Amia, fall back. You didn't get his vitals. Oh, how cold, King of Sarkas. A monarch of such little grace you are.
Sanguinarch of vampires, Prince of the Crimson Court, your offspring will fill every battlefield the Sarkas touch. You proclaim to them that slaughter and conquest are the ancient traditions of the vampires. You've shaped your court into what it is today. You've made the people see vampires as nothing more than twisted creatures of desire like yourself. But the vampires I know are not like you. They haven't gone mad like you.
They've only managed to conceal their desires, conditioned too deeply by this age in which they have no home. Some choose to bow down to the invaders, and I pity them.
No, that's not it. How do you interpret the blood that your court stands for?
The sufferings of the Sarkas need no elucidation. All Sarkas, even those who submit to you, inevitably know the taste of blood. Overturned in dark alleys, intercepted in dark forests, sometimes a throat is cut, sometimes cold daggers are thrust between ribs. It awakens these siblings, who now know the cost of submission, and they come to rebel until they too are covered in the blood of their enemies. How pitiful. Kill or be killed. This is the cycle of blood that the Sarkas carry.
Is that how you define the meaning of blood? A cycle? The first time any of us felt blood on our skin, wasn't it when we were born from our mothers? Blood is the foundation of human life, heritage passed down on umbilical cords, inevitable stumbles when exploring the outside world, and wounds that will surely heal. But you see it only as a synonym for torment and death. Your obsession makes you bloodthirsty. You, with all your arrogance and pride, lead them to believe that this is the path the Sarkas should take, the things they should do. I reject you, Sanguinarch. I reject your actions, your words, and your court!
What is this I'm hearing? You, an outblood, reject me? A mere crown has inflated you to what? King of Sarkas? The blood sea churns, its waves cover the moons. Crimson removes all other colors.
I don't care what I am or what I'm called. I only know what I need to do.
The prince stops moving for a moment. A voice echoes in his mind. Is this how you manipulate the king's power, Katas? Will you share some profound words? Try to shake me with shallow emotion? You're welcome to try. Shake? No. This is a rejection. The rolling of the waves slows together with the moonlight.
I reject you. I reject you the way you reduce the king, the Sarkas, and the Kazdel to concepts of power and tradition. I reject you, how you entrust the future to the past and trust life to slaughter. Theresa, the king, the chancellor, the leader of Babel, she showed everyone a path. Maybe that path is too idealistic. Maybe her promises won't bear the thousands of years of hatred of the Sarkas. But that's not now, not your choice. You'd laugh at my weakness, say it's not my place to talk about the Sarkas with you? Or you'd mock Logos for not making use of the blood you awakened just now?
Oh, King of Sarkas, you eavesdrop on my thoughts. Is that your ability? Then of course you know what I'm going to say.
I do. But we've never said that the Sarkas should give up their resistance. We've never said that suffering is justified. On the contrary, those rebels who awaken from their suffering and hardship, from the abyss of hatred, they will be much, much stronger than you. The lost homeland of the Sarkas is not in the history we keep looking back to an eon ago. It can't be a slogan, or fantasy, or symbol. It's right here, where the Sarkas came from. In the city called Kazdel, where so many real people live, people that you've only condemned to avoid of ideas. You've imagined the present from the past, and the real future can never be born. It's time to stop, vampire!
Amia's ring shatters, sending splinters flying. Cold anger burns within Amia as she scrutinizes the enemy before her. She thought her anger would rise, burning like a fire that could scorch the ocean. But no, that's not what's happening. Amia feels more than just anger, also an intense sadness. The Sarkas, a people who have lost their homeland. Yes, they believe that it is only through violence and war that they can reclaim all they've lost. It's easy to blame them, with cliché words of morality, justice, and kindness. Words that have been spoken over and over again, even as the war continues and hatred spreads. Because that is how this world treats them. This world has imposed on them violence and war. So then, what's wrong with an eye for an eye? Where is the crime in blood for blood? Every king of Sarkas operates on those principles, so the war never stops. This must be broken, but now, how can the system be broken? Even Theresa failed. What do you think you are? Yes, even she failed.
That's why Theresa needs me. The doctor and Dr. Kalsid need me. And that's why I'm here. I, as the Revenant called me, as you called me, as so many Sarkas believe me to be. The Outblood, the weak King of Sarkas. Stand down!
The Obsidian Decree transforms into the Judgment of the King, stabbing into the scorched blood. The thick red finally dissipates. The vampire takes a few steps back, raising his hand to wipe away the blood that flows from his nose and mouth. His body is damaged, and his white clothes are at least stained with blood.
You can't fight anymore, Sanguinarch. It's time for this battle to end.
King of Sarkas, won't you grant me that vision of emptiness? Don't you want to peer into my thoughts, see my sorrows and pain? You can reprimand me, reject me. Countless Sarkas believe this is the power of the king. You say I've corrupted my courts, but what about you? Oh, king, the Sarkas take your direction, your path. My people follow you, expecting you to, well, exploit their flesh and blood, their lives and their souls. Their blind faith is ridiculous. I sneer at the king's comfort, but I have seen it. My elder brother was a king of Sarkas. Huh, what a lofty title, what a transcendent role. He was looked to as the leader of the Sarkas, our guiding light. He was a natural savior, the one who would pull us out of our misery. But what was the reality? What kind of people has the Black Crown chosen? In the beginning, the King of Sarkas was indeed magnificent. The Diablos walked the path of punishment, the Goliaths roared, the fearless calamity. But they found themselves betrayed by the cowardly, sold out by the selfish. This is our curse.
The king killed the king. Succession to this crown often comes with death.
The vile always prevail. As such, the crown was besmirched by short-sighted fools. The weak began to appear among the kings. They were narrow-minded, focused on toying with the power they held in their hands. They became no better than the hypocritical lords among the elders and ancients. The power they stole from others clouded their vision. The focus of my people's faith turned from fearless warriors to vermin hiding in their places. They even forgot the shame borne by the name Sarkas. But the crown continued to make its laughable choices, right up to my brother. I thought surely he would be the hero we had waited for. He, on the other hand, had the audacity to say to me that the Sarkas could no longer afford to continue to war, that it would take generations to rebuild Kazdal. Even the skeleton beneath our feet knows that the Kazdal we should rebuild was never meant to be a city, and that the King of Sarkas should be the one to stand before them all. How can a man like that deserve to hold a single drop of Tika's blood within his body? Do you see it, King of Sarkas?
I see a bloody civil war. The carpets of the palaces are soaked red. I see a vampire lying in the arms of another vampire.
The legend of the toppled Blood Prince. He died in a civil war. You're his kin. Did you fight in the war?
No.
No, of course not. Did I fight? I shattered the crown myself. I remember it like it was yesterday. My hand pierced his chest. The limpid Tika's blood danced on my fingertip, finally entering my veins. He turned his head to look at me, grabbing my clothes. The king of Sarkas showed his illusionary visions to his murderer before he died, the vision that should have been bestowed as an honor. In the vision I witnessed peace. As you said, Katus, blood is not synonymous with death. I stood in the valley, watching a quiet village, a doctor laughing as he spoke, stitching up wounds for the injured. An injured man tells the doctor that his quarry was particularly voracious, but he eventually won out. In the courtyard hangs the freshly harvested beast meat. And the doctor is me. But this makes me uncontrollably angry. How tragic, how meaningless, how shameful! My brother actually believed that this false peace could deceive me? He was horrifically wrong. He thought I was blinded by hatred? No, I know what peace is, and that's exactly why I feel so restless. We long to see the great and powerful true Tikas. I absorbed my brother's blood into my body, and I watched as the Black Crown vanished before my eyes. But you did not ascend to the throne of the King of Sarkas. And I do not regret that. If it could choose a formidable leader, I would be genuinely delighted. But this crown disappoints me time and time again. Each time I am more disappointed. My brother's successor was a wandering vagrant. The next was a lumberjack. If it weren't for the records kept by the Confessari, these people will not be remembered at all. Later, a king who ruled Kazdel was killed by the monster called Khalcid, in the sight of the coalition army. Then came Theresa and Theresis. They were impressive, but also frustrating. Theresa, immersed in her fantasies, wasted her strength, much like my weak elder brother. And her successor turned out to be a Katus, an outblood. Things being what they are, the crown's choices being so absurd, even as its existence brings such humiliating hope to my people, I would rather bury it beyond the reach of civilization. I will let it be truly lost, forgotten to history. You're still struggling. Amiya, don't give him a chance. You are weakening too. However tarnished the crown may be, its weight is not something an infantile Katus could bear. It seems the Confessari, so eager to manipulate the crown, are going to blather some nonsense at me. Take another look around, Katus. If you die here, there will be no more successors. Or maybe you'd place your crown on the moons? The flowing blood surges toward the Sanguinarch's body. The white-haired Sarkas stands proudly once again.
What? How can he still fight? The King's Arts should have pierced his body, leaving it unable to regenerate.
He's using blood to fill the holes in his flesh, using it to mend his wounds. He's a marionette now. You've become more proficient in the use of the King's power, Katus. But all your admonitions, warnings, judgments, and proclamations are nothing but jokes. Ignorant little rabbit, the crown over your head represents no responsibility or authority. King of Sarkas. I mock not only your foolishness, but that of the king. And that of the crown itself. The once vibrant red that filled the entire space no longer exists. Only a bit of crimson oozes from the Sanguinarch's pupils. When the Sarkas lose the king on which they're so dependent, then perhaps they will wake up from this shameful dream of a coming salvation. I accede to your statement that those awakening from a dream will be much more powerful, and that is why you cannot defeat me. How can the fallen consciousness of the Sarkas resist me, who once carried the blood of the Tikas? The polluted cannot defile the pure, the impure cannot touch the limpid. Your origin lies in the Tikas, a long line you can only climb. We are the rebels! I decree, therefore I correct. Blood and fire extinguished, face to doom.
Look out, Logos!
A touch of crimson appears from nothing. The space once occupied by the Banshee is replaced by blood. His blood, it's affecting me. Several times stronger than those art circles. Yes, thanks to you, I have also shed my blood here. And therefore, this place is now part of Kazdel. Who would have thought that as much as anyone assumed they knew the full length and breadth of this great land? The boundaries of our home are still expanding, even in this time and place. Sarkas, my self-proclaimed Sarkas kin! March with your blood, carry on with that which will never betray you, the boon of your blood! I will take you back to the origin of all of this, and that is... A shadow pierces his chest. Threads of blood holding him together are severed in an instant. You...
Sorry, Sarka's boons don't do much for me. Bunny! You aren't Sarkas! Hop to it! Weaken his binds! That's what I'm doing! His arts are even crazier than I imagined! I can barely hear his thoughts anymore. There's only red. All red! I've almost... got it!
Another outblood. An unexpected development. The scent of your blood... your Caprine. Such a dull disguise. Let's have your blood suffocate you. Do you think such crude arts would let you kill a king of the Sarkas royal court? Of course not. A heavy sword points directly at the Sanguinarch's head. You can't call something as cliché as slaughtering an awakening Sanguinarch. You're still wandering in hatred and destruction. You've never left the abyss. You're the ones who are still sleeping. Vile traitors! King of Sarkas!
Now! Before he recovers, knock him off the skeleton!
An elegy begins to play. The wailing of the Banshee weaves into a mournful melody, and the weaves beneath his feet sing a solemn song. A steady male voice harmonizes with the sound of the bells, with moonlight as his prose. The bone whistle sounds itself before it is played. Its distant howl, traversing time itself, strikes the Crimson Court. The moment I took my throne, the knells were already tied to my fate. None of us can escape. But what the elegy mourns will not be your corpse. It will be all of our connections. The Sanguinarch continues to struggle, blood gushing from his fingertips, like claws carving deep scratches into the bleached skull of the Farenmut. His body disintegrates into the dirge, only to reform in blood. He is the icon of blood, and as long as there is blood, he will continue to fight. I will not, Banshee! Amiya, join me. Explore the strings of the elegy, seek out the origin of the Banshee. Look at me, look at the veils you once covered your ears to avoid. We must end him here.
I'll try.
The Banshee song echoes again, and the ancient knells seem to materialize, deterring the creeping blood. The vampire still rises. After a moment, a rather tender feminine voice joins the harmonic dirge. A proclamation of death? A sentence of rejection? No, not only. The melody carries a kind of timidity and lingering sadness. As the blood cools, the moonlight changes. The hatred of the Sarkas is not unreasonable, and the vampire's vengeance is not unreasonable. However, this is by no means the promised future. Can the survivors have a future on scorched earth? No. What do those siblings actually see? Banshee, listen! You have still accepted your blood, my boon. You have not yet defeated yourself. What echoes here is no longer an elegy. It is only a sigh. A sigh that makes him uneasy. The heat of the explosion and the weight of the sword make the Sanguinarch feel powerless for the first time. He looks at the small, ever so small, King of Sarkas. He looks at that Katus, so inferior to the Sarkas. He looks at the black crown, such a meaningless curse. The history and illusions he trampled on, the bloodline and inheritance, the revenge and unrivaled power, all suddenly disappear. He feels a void beneath his feet. A figurine bite falls from the skeleton. Ridiculous. Even the myriad souls mock me. Lord of the Banshees and King of Sarkas. You keep these deserters around who ignore the past, and in the end you don't even dare to act yourselves. Oh, the vile always prevail. This is indeed a curse. The Outblood King has executed me. The King of Sarkas resounds with the knells, but you don't know how strong the ties of blood are. You try to judge. You... In the end, you did use the power within your blood. Two elegiac singers offered me a dirge at the same time. When the time came, you could not resist the instinct within your blood that compromises all that you are. Did you really kill me? No. I have returned the Tika's blood to where it belongs. Go and see. Go to Londinium. I'll be waiting for you behind the curtain of ruin. Man, what to say? So much good shit. First and foremost, Hypergriff, please, keep doing these. Please, keep doing these CGs. These are amazing. That ring shattering? Oh, yes. That sent so many chills down my spine when that came all of a sudden. Oh, not gonna lie, I was halfway expecting that it's gonna diverge into like an animated cutscene like we had a long time ago, but it didn't happen. But still, this is amazing by itself. Please keep doing these. This was beautiful. But yeah, Sanguinarch, bye-bye, I guess. You can float forever in that space and time, and who the hell knows where you are. But we are now gonna be moving on But not to our final cutscene. That will be the final part. First, we have a couple of extra things to go over here, and we're gonna be beginning with the H stages, then move on to the postcards that I've unlocked with pretty much beating everything now. So let's begin. The H stages are, just like last time, all titled the same way, just differently numbered, and they all are titled and say Operation Charybdis. Now, one thing to note here very quickly, first off, Charybdis from Greek mythology, yet again, and this time around, not a god or demigod or whatever. This time around, we are dealing with a sea monster, or at least Charybdis is mostly known as a sea monster in Greek mythology. And for those of you who want to know more, just Google it. You're gonna find quite a ton of this. This is a very popular name that has been used in quite a lot of media, fiction, and so on and so forth. It exists everywhere, pretty much. If you played a couple of games that are playing around with these like Greek-inspired mythical names, it probably appeared somewhere. But yeah, anyway, our stages in tandem tell as follow. We fight for ourselves. The enemy atop the skeleton has rendezvoused with their main force. The following battle will be hard fought. Illusions warp and skip. Blood rushes and surges. Bloodlines of antiquity burst forth, with voices resounding through the battlefield, lingering and clinging on and on. But yeah. Once again, very interesting that we've switched now from gods to monsters. Anyway, let us go and finish off our postcards. We've covered the first 3, now we have the next 5 to go over, or pardon, the next 6 to go over. Starting with the one that unlocks on stage 18. And it says, The Pillars of the Empire. Your Grace, I've successfully stolen into Londinium, and this was not done on impulse. As you've taught me, I'll never let personal emotions cloud my judgment, so please don't worry. I decided on this only after careful consideration. I miss the days we spent together and the life we enjoyed in Linkarden, but I'm sure I'll be more useful here. This place has more or less become the eye of the storm, accumulating momentum as news from all across Terra pours in rapidly. I'm sure I'll mature faster here, so you need not worry that I won't be polishing the skills I need, now that I'm far from Linkarden. Another thing, I ended up reinvestigating the cause of Papa's passing, and he did indeed die from illness on his way back to Linkarden after the meeting. Mum, I swear to you that this investigation into the truth behind his death will be my last self-indulgent act. Signed, Delphine, 1094-08. However, cipher has been decrypted. I found this card among Dad's belongings. He left a message on it too. It may be of no matter to you at this point though. And the message says, The Duke of Stafford and Cavendish certainly... The Dukes of Stafford and Cavendish certainly aren't. I'll be keeping a closer eye on the Duke of Castor. I've looked into the Duke of Ashford. His benefactor hasn't made clear his position in Victoria's future as of yet. Very odd. Signed, Kent. Moving on to 21. This one is titled Pride, and it says immediately, Decrypted Hidden Ciphertext. Delphine, if you're able to read the message I've left for you above, it means you've kept up with the cryptography I taught you. Fine work. I'm currently on my way back to Linkarden. The turbulence has been so rough that I've barely gotten any sleep. That, or perhaps I'm coming down with something from all the stress. While getting some fresh air on the deck earlier, I found the photo you secretly stashed in my overcoat. There are a few creases on it, but I was overjoyed to discover this surprise of yours, and can't wait to see both you and my Duke again. My girl, I have always believed that we would lead the way to ensuring that Victoria's glory will endure, and the Dukes keep each other in check has been the best case scenario for the nation's future. Your mother and I have never disagreed on this, so my eyes and ears have brushed off the noise in order to guarantee Windermere's stability for many years. However, the decision I made during the Duke's secret meeting in Londinium has sowed within me a seed of doubt. I never expected Parliament to conclude with letting those disgusting Sarkas mercenaries clean up the Steam Knight system in our stead. Every Duke voted in favor of this difficult decision, but no doubt they had made this choice even before the session began. This plan is even now being quietly executed right behind my back as I set off from the city. I realize now that my original vision of becoming a decision maker who personally affects my country's future has also resulted in me personally tarnishing our glory. Do the Duke's interests weigh heavier than Victoria's honor? I shouldn't be thinking about this any longer, but I just can't banish it from my mind. One day you'll inherit your mother's title. What would you do if it were you? While trying to locate Lincoln on the horizon, I thought about the past again. As a child, you would shield me with your back at banquets, only to fall into my arms in tears later those same nights. I'll always be proud of you, so will you still be proud of me, Delphine? Signed, Papa, 109402. And on the picture, that difficult decision was never for the sake of any actual person. Maybe the ducal system you so upheld as the beating heart of Victoria has long ceased to be necessary to her, Dad. But I'll always be proud of you. I wish I could tell you that face to face. More than anything. Signed, Delphine. Anyway, we move on to our first H stage, which has this very amusing looking picture, but it is from Delphine, and it says, Mom, telling our citizens that the Sarkas are a civilized race is beyond absurd. The pictures they use in their attempts to teach these barbarians the joys of tea time are simply a display of our arrogance, though I'm still going to participate in the public lecture scheduled in a few days. Since, according to a document I acquired, the invitation had many of the city's noble names printed on it, I'd love to see their expressions when they meet an actual Sarkas. I bet you'll laugh when you see this postcard. Signed, Delphine, 109503. Cipher has been decrypted. It was Parliament's decision. After the Dukes of Cavendish and Stafford instigated unrest by bringing them into the city, Parliament has also realized the possibility of using the Sarkas mercenaries to handle other matters. You should know this better than I do, but I'm guessing the main reason why Parliament even dared to make this decision was because the Sarkas did such an excellent job when they got rid of the Steam Knights. They're all indulging in their fantasy that holding these public lectures will reduce the public's fear of the Sarkas, and they'll regret it sooner or later. On the second stage we unlock this one. This one is from Windermere to Delphine, and it says, Delphine, this year I received yet another invitation to speak at the Windermere Military Academy's opening ceremony, and the headmaster mentioned your name again. You've been an honor student twice in a row and are a role model for many freshmen. I won't deny my influence undergirding this honor, but your efforts and achievements in the academy are clear for all to see. That worn-out sword still hangs on the drill's grounds weapons rack, and the bloodstains imprinted by your palm through heavy use are still visible on the hilt's wrapping. The headmaster has repeatedly mentioned to me that even were you not to become a general, you would have become the most valiant fighter under my command. You have learned to stay rational in battle and to make the right decisions. I hold these same expectations of you. You needn't have left me for Londinium. Delphine, I too am pained by your father leaving us, but the Duke of Windermere can show no weakness. I won't demand your understanding, but I pray you realize that you must master all of this before you inherit my title. Signed, Amphiles Windermere, 109505. On our third stage, we get one from Delphine, and it says, Mom, this postcard all the way from Siracusa is my favorite among my recent collection. It's been a year since the pizzeria distributed this design as an advert, but it still brings me back to the days when Papa would take me on a long trip just to taste some authentic pizza. I'm doing great, Mom, so don't worry about me. Signed Delphine, 109604. Very quickly here, this is taking place, or rather this was written 4 months roughly, or rather exactly 4 months after the events of Episode 8 Act 1 complete in the main story. Anyway, we continue with Cipher has been decrypted. Your Grace, you were right. The military commission has infiltrated Londinium, and they now control large parts of the industrial areas. They even have people broadcasting propaganda for them. I sent this message via an unassuming postcard just to be safe. Even if Parliament were fully aware of what the military commission is plotting, they lack the time for effective countermeasures. I found out your plan to unite the other dukes to march on Londinium, as well as that it failed, but that's nothing unexpected. Each duke has their own objectives, and they all want to reap the biggest benefits. The dukes will never be able to work together. Look at all these messages I've sent you. They're only the tiniest sliver of what the intelligence network I've managed to set up in Londinium has produced. I think this should suffice as a demonstration of my abilities and determination, so there's no need to urge me to return to Windermere. Signed, Delphine. And our final one is from Delphine again, and it says, Mom, I've made some new friends, and they've been really nice to me, so I've changed my address to their Slobberknocker boxing gym for the time being. Life remains the same, and we can even watch movies here. Beautiful Life is my favorite from the recent releases I've seen. Everything's fine, so there's no need to worry. Signed, Delphine, 109709. Very interesting timestamp yet again, which gives us a time frame essentially for when after this will the main story, you know, pick up with Act 2 and chapter 10 essentially. But good to have that. Anyway, it says Cipher has been decrypted. Your Grace, the mayor of Londinium choked to death at yesterday's banquet, but everyone present was fully aware that it was the military commission's doing. It was a signal as well as a warning. I believe that in a few days Parliament will fully surrender to the commission. The city's communications have been affected, and I've asked my sources to lay low for now and wait for the situation to develop before we make any further steps. I can still handle things here. Signed, Delphine. I miss you, Mom. Aww. Oh, these postcards have been a thing, a very, very emotional thing, alright. And yeah, the picture here with Delphine and the rest of the Glasgow members that were left back in Londinium. Oh boy. The memories. Anyway, this has been all of the postcards. We are now done with covering that, and we can now proceed fully into our final cutscene here, and yeah, all I can say is titled Disaster Coalesces. Hardships converge, disaster is nigh. Enjoy.
Why should I help you, Sarkas? Do you think you saved me? I didn't die, though that doesn't even matter. The shell is merely a plaything I abandoned long ago. Besides, aren't the Sarkas the ones hunting me down? How much history have you seen? All that I have experienced. Rumors say that you will divulge a piece of truth, or hint at an omen. You tiny little creatures treat my drifting ripples as hallucinations while indulging in them, and yet you harbor resent? After I was divided up by those lunatics, There's even a fallen angel carrying a part of me around. And what I've seen and heard since has actually gotten more interesting. On the contrary, what makes me feel absolute boredom are those so-called bulky histories and profound topics.
Absolute boredom. You're not wrong on that. History always repeats itself on this land. Looking at the past is now a means of looking towards the future.
And so I have actually become a prophet. In this life of mine, if you can still count my current form as the same life as before, I've never thought of having such an identity.
Then, are you looking for a new conclusion?
Just how old do you think I am, you little rascal? There won't be any new conclusions to draw, with the way all of you look like now. Yes, something strange has happened to these decrepit bones of mine. A rabbit wears a Sarkas's crown, and she together with a male banshee are fighting a vampire on top of my head. Of course, there is that sheep playing with shadows, who hangs out with you two. Are these new to me? A little, perhaps. But you can't win.
You seem so sure. Do we also belong to the history you've seen, that has come full circle time and again?
There's never been a shortage of those who resist on this great land, but they always fall into the same trap. Besides, I understand the vampire's tricks. He was the one who peeled off my skin back then.
Let's have a wager, Faramut. The strange bunch of people, Kotus, Capernae, Banshee, Sarkas, they'll triumph over the vampire that tried to hunt you.
Are you trying to win my favor? Do you think I'll look at you differently for helping me? I couldn't care any less about that. But what are you putting on the table?
If we win, you'll lend us your help and bring us back to where we came from.
And if you lose,
we'll all be dead by that point.
You're making an empty offer, little thing. I accept.
You really are easy to talk over.
No, it's because I know that all you have are just the waves I toss up that will come to a still in the blink of an eye. So I might as well spare a little effort and raise my eyelids a little.
You have indeed won by a minuscule move, but the bet is far from over. Did you really win? Did you triumph over the enmity, slaughter, and blood that vampires represent? Why don't we expand our wager by a little? I'll bring all of you back, and then continue to waiting for you in the cycles of history.
How long have they been gone? 3 hours and 14 minutes. I'm really worried about them. Even a sanguinar can bleed and die, right? You should trust them. It's all we can do. We're done with our combat mission too. Our losses aren't light. Their forces here are indeed well trained. Most of the Sarkas chose to fight to the end, but a small number also chose to surrender. You can hand them over to W's mercenary squad, or will you execute them? No, I'm not doing that. But I refuse to let them die so simply just like that. Perhaps it's difficult to put them on trial during wartime. It's definitely a difficult task to judge just how much blood is on the hands of every terror-stricken Sarkas who laid down their arms. But if we act just like they do, then we'll be no different than them. Mina, I'd like to take on the responsibility of investigating the crimes committed by these Sarkas prisoners of war. I have a professional covert intelligence background too, so I'm well versed in the ways to get them to talk. I know what you're worried about. No, I'm not. I'll leave it to you. Alright. I won't let a single drop of blood go unaccounted for. Prepare for battle. The Faramut will be back soon. Monster, stand by. There's no way we can be sure who'll be on this return trip.
The gigantic skeleton finally reappears. The torrents of time seem to have washed away any trace of battle, and it hovers in the air, no different than it was at any other point of time.
Monster!
Hey! Let go of me, you damn... Seems like the old hag's awake. Think you got her backing you up now? That's my last grenade, so bite onto it tight, you little freak.
Put her down, monster. Shitty luck today. I just wanted to give myself a ceremonial salute to announce my return. Didn't think I'd see an old hag with a scowl on her face once the skeleton stopped. W, don't forget we have to repair any structures you blow up here after taking over the place. Anything destroyed will be fixed by the same hand.
Huh? What makes you think I'd even know how to fix this kind of thing?
Got it, Doctor. We've captured the Faramut skeleton, as well as Commander Ursula. The rest of the skeleton garrison have been eliminated.
So, you're the Dame Kaltzit? I've heard so much about you. You're one of the Scar Market's people. You know every little thing that's happened in Kazdel clearly, even from somewhere as far as Victoria. Seems like those old guys weren't lying. I have a talk with those old guys, as you call them, through you when we're done with business here. They are the ones who stayed behind to watch over Kazdel, and the Lich have already contacted the military commission that currently governs the place. They'll be making their decision soon.
Where are Amia and Logos?
Doctor!
Amia!
Little Katas crashes into your arms.
Welcome back.
There's blood all over you. Are you hurt?
I'm fine. The blood... it was the vampires. Amia. Your rings. You used them. Yeah. Let me see your hands.
A ring on Amia's hand has already disintegrated, leaving not even a trace or fragment.
I had to use it against him. I'm sorry. You've become more skilled with using emotions and memories.
Amia, you fainted from releasing a ring before. Kaltzit, we need to run another check on Amia.
No, Doctor. Don't worry. I'm just kind of tired. The ring on your right index remains broken. Fortunately, that's just an effect of exerting yourself. You were burning from rage again. Me? Angry? I thought I'd be angry at the Sanguinarch of vampires for slaughtering so many people. But what I felt was not just that. There was also... sadness.
Sadness. Kaltzit pauses briefly, and a pair of pink eyes, always hiding sadness within, flashes through her memory. A few seconds after, she comes to her senses and takes a second look at Amia's fingers.
These rings are meant to help you adapt to the Lord of Fiend's power and the surge of emotions that come with it. Another ring has cracked. Perhaps we can do nothing but witness these wounds open again and again. Please don't worry, Dr. Kaltzit. No matter who I faced, or who I will face next, I won't fall before they do.
The sanguine narco-vampires fell into some place we don't know about. His court still remains, but no longer poses a threat to us. However, we failed to prevent the curse from being cast.
It's coming from Londinium. What's happening over there? The Self-Salvation Corps originally believed that cutting off the supply line would be a way to end the war. But things have changed. This war will not last for much longer. We need to hurry over. The skeleton might be able to become a new stronghold, or an unprecedented means of transport. Hopefully, it can be put to good use. The decisive battle is right before us. The Sarkas cannot be the culprits of the next calamity. Also, Dr. Kaltzit, the vampire's obsession, his hopes, and what he called a curse, is Originium. Yes. The oldest Khazal came into contact with Originium before any other civilization did. It was not the remnants of a catastrophe or a mineral silently buried within rock formations. It was a hunk of Originium from antiquity. And it birthed the oldest witchcraft and the most ancient of infected. If the vampire really knew of this fact and developed his obsession from that, thinking it could grant him power, then it won't just be Londinium's fate that will be determined next. Back here again. Londinium. Yeah, after all we've been through, we're finally in Victoria's capital. A pity it's now completely surrounded by the Sarkas and the Duke's armies. Guard, quickly arrange... Percival, arrange another Ripathy screening for our members. I know some of them are still deteriorating. Non-combatants will be stationed in this forest. Percival, take good care of them and keep in touch with us. Are we really going in there? The infected will be everywhere throughout the city, no matter how the war ends. Sarkas are Victorian, soldiers or nobles, and even farmers, workers, traders. They won't be able to judge their own identity so quickly. Perhaps they won't even realize it until peace returns and they're once again marginalized, and then it hits them. I was reminded of this because of what happened to Guard. But no matter. We have to let every infected on this land know that our flag flies high once again. And more importantly, what it stands for. One day, when they become prisoners again, they will think of our flag as they realize the justice of this land must be won through the struggle. What's the plan? We'll split up. It won't happen overnight. Other people can handle the task of eradicating the disease, while we'll make sure oppression will no longer be tolerated. We'll need to directly demonstrate this with our strength. In Victoria, we need to, at the very least... 9. There's fire on the other side of the hill, 100 or 200 meters away at most. It's glowing an unnatural hue. Percival, how long has it been since the scouting team last replied us? Huh? Let me go check. Yeah, it's been longer than our estimations. But this isn't the first time. Our comms equipment are just junk after all. I'll go ask Red.
The Lula stares at the flames. There is no reason or omen, only a strong feeling. She smells the stench of death cast by the firelight. I didn't know your highness would be here in person. This is only a trifling swarm of infected with weapons, weak and pitiable people forced to unite and fight.
Even if there is a surviving Draco among them?
We'll confirm her identity and handle everything on your behalf.
I'm not blaming you, of course. Have the scouts located the target?
Yes, it's consistent with our intel. However, with all due respect, why do we have to be so concerned about her this much? Even if she has the Red Dragon's blood, her identity will only pose a slight detriment to your claim. But if our intel is accurate, her current identity is that of an infected. So what does she mean to...
An infected, Don't we know another infected Draco as well? My sister will soon return to my side. Just think of it as eliminating some unnecessary variables to nourish the soil between us.
We can...
A Draco. I've never come into contact with a Draco outside of family before. All of you, wait here. I shall take a look myself. Careful.
Thank you. The swamp is miserable to wade through.
Yeah. Our supplies are low and people aren't getting enough to eat. We haven't been able to get any decent medication either. Do you need my help?
No, thank you. I walked all the way from Ursus, and this isn't so different from back then. Tallulah's footsteps slowed down. The group slowly marches next to her through the shrubs and reeds. The rustling sounds are quieter than silence itself.
What is it? 9. Can you release these restraints? And your arts too? You should be well aware you're not allowed to use your Reginium arts. These are your yoke and fetters. Your Tallulah the hero only went before our Victorian compatriots. I'm not a hero or anything like that. I just don't want history to repeat itself because of me.
She does not finish her sentence. Flames of death ignite from the depths of the swamp, encircling the group in their confusion.
What's going on? Where did this fire come from? All units on alert. What is that?
An ominous deep purple climbs up Nine's body before she can finish speaking, engulfing her in death instantly. Cold flames of death swallow everything.
Reunion. Infected. Another group of pitiable people fighting against their pitiable fate. Tenacious, powerful, magnificent. And yet completely unaware they're involved in another lamentable conspiracy. Draco and Aslan, Red Dragon and Lion. You people who rose up from Ursus were actually led to where you stand today by a descendant of the Red Dragon, who will ultimately bring about your demise. Tallulah Artorius, what sort of woman are you, Draco? If you're deserving of my attention, then come forth from death.
Sparks fly as Death's voice, with that branches and reeds all reduced to ashes. But the flowers are still in bloom. They are rejecting death.
Flowers? To think there would even be flowers that can withstand my flames? Nine. I'm fine. These flames are special. Yes. She came for me, so I'll handle her. Many of us here are in combat ready. You have to keep them all safe. Reunion will pull on your chain. You haven't been judged, so don't die just yet.
Her flames of death are cut open. No, her death is blocked by delicate vegetation, ignited by flames of fury. Fire ignites fire. The infected turns away from her. She has never been ignored like this before. Eblana comes to her senses at once. The gaze of the Draco named Tallulah never shifted away from her. Raging flame cleaves into mortal flame. Emotion rends emotion. Tallulah tears into Eblana. The void is now awash with blood. Eblana laughs.
Tallulah Artorius, daughter of Edward, and legitimate heir to the Victorian throne. This is your true self. We have nothing to do with each other, Draco of Dublin. Is that for you to say? Just look at you, Red Dragon, how strong and powerful you are. And yet, despite your might, you once again willingly toss aside the glory of the Red Dragon to the Aslan so easily, to let them trample on the red carpets of Vestalag. Victoria is a country founded by Draco Tallulah. Why do you only resist? I can smell an unimaginable fury in your flames. Do you not crave it? How can it be? Fury? Do you still wish to continue playing house with the infected? How are you this narrow-minded? Infected? This status does not merit mention. You can step over it, disregard it, save it. I give you a chance now, Tallulah. I can disregard your infected status and even this pitiful mutual aid program you control. Your flames move me, Tallulah. Stand with me, and I pledge that everything you desire shall be realized into reality. Come to my side, submit to me, and Tara shall stand together with you. Our careers hold no conflict with each other at all. Both you and this infected movement of yours need an end more powerful and prosperous than this. Are you finished speaking? You... Draco, your eyes have only desire in them. A desire to free Tara, exact revenge on Victoria, fulfill your own desires, or perhaps you have yet to even grasp what exactly lies in the depths of your desires. Fury. It's true, and I won't deny it. And that's why. Come any closer, and my flames will consume you whole.
Fire. Fury. A calm fury. It burns at the extremities of her death.
I'm not interested in Draco's lineage, power, or the country. Do you lead the Tauran's resistance with such a narrow-sighted desire and ideals? If so, then perhaps it's better if I just cut you down here and now. Truly a pity. Not interested in lineage, power, nor country. Our history summarized. An imaginary crown. An instinctive resistance. Well said. Perhaps I don't know what's going on. Or could it be, do you think I'm indulging myself in my actions? You shall be my most powerful vassal, though my other subjects are eager for me to kill any other living Draco to uphold my legitimacy. But they don't know why exactly I wish to establish a nation. And you know it yourself? Of course. And my sister will do it in my stead. Don't leave your affairs to your family to do, Draco. You're the one ruining the lives of others with utter disregard. Death is only my prisoner. No, death is taken for granted or without meaning. All with power will die worthy deaths. Is it up for you to decide? Haven't you realized yet that your manners, gentleness, affection, and even your arrogance and scorn are all fake? You're just a hypocritical tyrant despite your bombastic words. Death is just a scepter for you to brandish your authority, and you're not the first tyrant I've met either. Stay away from reunion. What an extremely dull answer. But your answer will change in the end, so it'd be a pity for you to die here. Reunion. Indeed, those flowers death could not burn earlier are equally deserving of affection. So, what if I tell you Dublin's forces will exterminate every last of the Reunion's members if you refuse to submit to me? What will you do then? Do you wish for us to be enemies? I don't know what happened in the time you spent drifting about Ursus after leaving Victoria, but I can feel it. From your flames, strong and weak, profound and superficial, angry and remorseful. She's a sinner from Union. Don't think too highly of yourself, Draco. Ah, the little flower. Your team's not too far away. You must be so concerned for her. It doesn't matter. This isn't the first time Reunion is up against a strong foe. Dublin's forces, you already erred by not calling in your high-speed battleship immediately. We'll kill you before your drones arrive. I'll do my best and everything it takes to kill you. Your desires and ambitions, we don't care for them, and I'm in no mood to listen to your Red Dragon chat with Tallulah. All I know is that you'll die. For sure. Enough with a look. All of us have no wish for this to continue, right? Alright, Tallulah, other descendant of the Red Dragon. Even if you reject me, and your actions have wholly nothing to do with my Tara, but your fury, resistance, desires, and answers, your end lies with me too. Let us treat today's meeting as a first prophecy. Tara's loyal servants shall come here one after the other. Go, Reunion, bring some chaos to Victoria, and create some opportunities for us. The next time we meet, one red dragon is bound to bite the other to death. That's enough hiding. Come out already. It's only going to become more humid after night falls, and you won't be able to light the firewood you got.
Who are you?
You're infected. Doesn't matter. I'm the same. I won't harm you or anything. There's no need to be so wary. I'm not lying. I really am infected.
You're not a Victorian?
I'm from Yan.
What's a Yanese doing here?
My family came here for business and got caught up in the war. I was going to evacuate with them, but I accidentally contracted rypathy. So they left me behind.
Everyone's unfair to the infected everywhere. Your luck sure sucks. But we can't help you either.
I can tell. You don't even have a way to start a fire, so you're probably no arts users. Don't seem to be hunters either, so you won't live more than a few days. Getting captured by the military as an infected, or by the Sarkas as a Victorian, either way, it's a terrible way to go, right?
So?
I can help you get a fire going at least. Watch.
Whoa, it's really burning. Was that easy? Thank you so much, Yanese lady. What about you? Do you need us for anything?
The sky's getting dark. Can I rest here for the night? I'll leave at first light tomorrow.
How's a foreign refugee like you this calm and unruffled? And your sword, even I can tell it ain't some ordinary blade.
You're right. I'm what they call a Jiobai in Yan, like the messengers here. I'm pretty skilled, and not a stranger to traversing adverse conditions either. Surviving in the wild isn't that difficult for me.
You helped us start a fire. I'll leave it at that. I'll admit what we did, even if it's the soldiers who find out, as long as the Sarkas don't catch us. It's not like they'll reward you with a feast. Is that worth discussing when we don't even have a crumb to eat right now? Those Reunion crazies, The reason why it's so dire for us now.
Reunion?
You haven't heard? Well, you've only been recently affected after all. They're a band of infected, and we were all counting on them to be our saviors.
You fought over something?
We robbed the Sarkas, but they were of the opinion that we killed one of their infected countrymen. Sarkas? Countrymen? My daughter's dead because of them. My daughter. My girl.
Do they have a leader?
9. Yeah, she's the one who chased us away. There was another one called Guard, but he's dead. I really want to roast something for dinner. I don't want reunion. I don't know what reunion is exactly, but the group we encountered were a bunch of hypocrites who belong in a dumpster. What? You want me to shake hands with the Sarkas and make peace? I'll beat the next one I see to death. Alright, remember the rumors we always heard from the Ursus Tundra? Tallulah? Hero of the infected? She didn't seem much at all to me. I remember she was always trailing behind 9 and never said anything more than a few words. The hearsay from those old infected weren't worth shite. 9 might have been the actual decision maker all along. This is all just useless banter. It's too late for you to join them, Yanis fella.
Where did they go?
How would I know? Back then I left in a huff to this guy in Tau. I remember there being a messenger station in this direction about a dozen kilometers from here.
An early rest for us today then. We have to get back on the road tomorrow.
Meanwhile, nothing unusual to report. Did you hear? The dukes seem to have bumped into each other. Duke Windermere sacrificed herself, and the other lords can no longer sit still either. The Madam's legendary tale is still in my mobile terminal. Legends are useless now. But do you know who was keeping watch here at Catalay before we took command? I thought the Sarkas seized this place long ago. Could they have been stranglers from some army? Maybe it's the Londinium Citizen Self-Salvation Corps. Rumors abound that they're still active. That's ace. They managed to stand up to these Sarkas even though there's no decent equipment to be found here. Yeah, there are definitely veterans roaming around the country who can take on 100 alone. Right? No way they're just some local thugs or worker riffraff. The scouts sent their intel. Basically, it was pretty much what the commander predicted, which was impossible to predict. Send it to the tent. I can't make heads or tails of it either. The Sarkas' army methods are just too unconventional. Sure. Wait. The scouts say they detected a strange squad identification code. Want to report it together? The Exemplars? Isn't that name from the War of the Four Nations? What am I supposed to tell them? Our scouts saw a specter?
The Exemplars. Know anything about them?
No, I'm from the Duke of Five's 4th Infantry Battalion. That's no longer important.
Aye, you're just an infected now, and I'm basically a deserter. We're both in a wee bit of pickle, aren't we? Didn't think I'd have to be so overcautious here in Catalay.
Bagpipe, I can't find this funny at all. Catalay is now under the army's jurisdiction, so are we,
I'm sure you have no clue how enchanting the hay piles are this time of year. I want to celebrate with me army chums back home too. But I can't expose myself so easily like that. They treat deserters no better than foul beasts on the chopping block for dinner.
You're a good one, miss. I'm sure you can sort this misunderstanding out.
Tell me that a year back and I might have believed ya. The Exemplars. Ain't that the Tempest Platoon's former name? Still following me?
You seem strong, and we haven't eaten at all the past 2 days.
We're all fellow infected, aren't we?
We'll travel together for a while more. You might be able to see the station you mentioned after this hillside.
Or maybe it's been smashed to bits. Wait! Look over there. People, right?
Right. Stay calm. Their numbers are limited, at the very least.
Wait, hold on. They're Victorians. I can see them. Are they a squad of refugees? I can see some soldier guards too. What do we do? This is much better than running into Sarkas, but we're infected. Are we going to be, The infected already abandoned us, so we might as well ask them for food and starve to death out here. Besides, think about it. How many people are going to emerge from this war with Loripathy? Surely they'll let us live somehow. Of course, definitely, for sure, I'm sure they will. I'll go and take a look. Hey! Heavens, what's going to happen if the soldiers do turn hostile? And I'm Urayanese, what if...
I think you can ease up on the anxiety. Look, they seem to be getting along well.
Huh? It really does look like that. He's waving. I'll go over.
Shen watches the two infected mingle with their compatriots. Vigilance, talking, casual chatting. Soon someone puts their arm on their shoulder, and their cheery chatter reaches Shen's ears. Shen stays at her spot for a long time.
Yanese lady! I talked with them. We can travel together. Huh? Where'd she go?
You beat the Sarkas to death? Hell yeah, you're our heroes. You finally replied to my invitation, Duke O'Dodden. It seems that even you realize now how serious the situation is. Yes, it's gotten so serious that our cautious Duke Caster has actually left her territory to grace the front lines in person. A Victorian Duke has died on the battlefield. How many years has it been since something like this has happened? Quite a few of our fellow nobles suspect you behind your back, you know. After all, everyone knows you never got along with the Duke of Windermere. That stubborn Windermere would never support your little plot to take over Londinium. But I know it wouldn't be you. You welcome any loss she suffers, even if they were major, but now your problems have only increased with her death. In fact, all of us here have attracted a big problem. There are rumors from outside that young Duke O'Dodden today is obsessed with notions of romance and lacks the wisdom and wits of his house. It seems that our country has become so weak that we've exhausted our ability to understand people. Don't flatter me, I'm only disinclined to care about other matters, yours included. Alas, why does this war compel us to face our responsibilities? All I can do is to walk out the winery and throw myself down at the table of the day. And for this end I've even brought a friend. It was not easy to bring him off his high-speed battleship. To think the Duke of Wellington would grace us with his presence.
My time grows short.
I hear you met with some troubles on the front line. The Naxir King is not an easy enemy to deal with.
No more than just the Sarkas.
You must take care of yourself. After all, you're already,
I'm not at the age where I need you to tell me how old I am. The stalemate on the front line will soon end, and Windermere's defeat will have a minimal impact on the war situation. We will be able to retake the front lines in no time.
Your valiant march onwards has caused the ducal armies to clash with the Sarkas military on all fronts.
It's not enough. We must execute an effective offensive, then continue defending our fragmented defenses to win this war. Our counterattack must begin.
I agree. A rare sight to see the two of you in agreement. Londinium is now officially declared to be under the Sarkas' occupation. This means they no longer have a need to hide. This does not bode well for us at all.
My follow-up units will assemble in 3 days. We suffered some losses in the previous war, but Wellington's battleship will still be the first to rush into the storm.
I will participate as well, and see to it that the Duke of Normandy and Fife join our efforts. Abercorn and Ashworth will, of course, also be reasonable people. What an unprecedented sight to behold, the Dukes speeding to Londinium on their battleships to shell the city walls.
I hope there won't be a second time. Inform your troops that I will take command in this battle.
Naturally.
Well then, if you will excuse me, there are many matters waiting for me to handle on the front line.
And just like that, truly a swift and decisive man. I grew up listening to the tales of the Empire's death knell, but I didn't think his hair would actually turn completely white. Forming a military alliance with other dukes used to be a earth-shaking affair, but look at us now. We can't even have a presentable meeting. Judging from his words, he's become a stubborn old man, unwilling to admit his setbacks. Duke Castor, I know nothing about war, but looking at old Wellington's condition, I fear we won't be able to completely trust him. Castor? Indeed, trust. No, it's nothing. I merely recalled some past events from my youth. Old Wellington, he conceals his impatience, his unease, and even his shortcomings. He is getting older as well. But he can't fool me. It's all fake. You've known him for a long time. For far too many years. Even from when I was just a little girl with no experience. What are your thoughts on the matter? To look in his eyes as he spoke of the Dark Terror was exactly the same as it used to be in his youth. Be it friend or foe, he is like a beast thirsting to tear the other, to feast on their blood, to rip out their entrails, chew their bones, and swallow them. Hunt, devour, grow, he has always been this sort of warrior. The old man's appetite has always been good. Who was already in Duke Wellington's belly when you met him? Ivan Yevgenovich Herkomshorn, as well as Corsica the First. I see. You were really quite young back then. There used to be a saying in the among the nobles in Castor territory, regarded as an ominous symbol. Victoria only has one true duke after the War of the Four Nations. For we restricted and weakened him after that fought more than 60 years. The people forget about heroes in the peacetime, and the nobles repel the death knell in their fear. He revealed his fatigue earlier. But I think of, and I've always been thinking of something, the smile on his face when we were both young flashed towards the endless expanse of the battlefront. He stood side by side with the Emperor of Ursus. He witnessed the Witch King's arts. He saw the greatest of monarchs and dismantled the largest modern cities to exist then. How can someone like him willingly throw himself to the slaughter? So you're telling me our man who has had no choice but to swallow his pride for decades and might be still Victoria's strongest general has divulged his true feelings?
You were the one who invited him to the table. You know he has a trump card up his sleeve. I'm feeling a little chilly. The wind outside tonight is rather strong. Chilly? Be sure not to catch a cold, Duke Gododin. Of course not. Please be at ease. Despite what everyone says about me, I really am lazy and would much rather stay in my lovely estate appreciating the countryside view than to be on a battleship. But I do like winter.
Ah, I got it.
You tinkering with the radio equipment again? Didn't I already tell you multiple times, Closure? Our recent patrols haven't gone far enough to pick up any signals coming from inside Londinium.
And I already told you so many times, I'm a Rhode Island engineer. Look, my equipment specially made for Rhode Island communications can now receive signals from other channels after my many modifications. Let's see.
Londinium Self-Salvation Corps broadcast. Repeat, Commander Clovesia and the other members who have not left are still fighting. Repeat, we need backup. Commander Clovesia? I knew she and the others were fine. We need to hurry and tell everyone about this.
Great, they're all right, and I'm done debugging the steel in my hand. Wait, there's another message from the Rhode Island channel. It can't be. What happened to Blaze and the rest with her? And what's with all the regular infected?
After some electric noise, the disembarkment application for Londinium, Victoria, has been approved. Local branch operators, please make preparations. Repeat, please make preparations. Meanwhile, so many books here, but not even a vegetable stem to be found. The number of books won't matter if we don't find any stems. Are you sure we can find something edible here? If we don't, then we can just kick down some house door after. Won't they put up a fight? We already took them all away. Well, I'm beat. Life was so much simpler before. Swing our sword, cut someone down, swing again, cut down another, and then boom, money. But now, we can't even find a single stem to eat. Is Londinium still considered Victoria's now? I mean, we occupied it, so does it count as a new city of our own? Or is it still Victoria's? I don't know. All I know is the clouds have been gathering lately. The top of that building is extremely unusual. But start to worry, that's where the region is. Do you hear a strange noise? Huh? Nah. That's so strange. A huge figure emerges from the shadows and a ray of light blazes through the deathly still streets. It raises its heavy arm and then harshly drops it. The armor falls into silence, like it was just an illusion. A faint fire seeping from its helmet is the only sign that it still lives. She stretches out her hand to touch the knight, but is forced to refrain from the residual heat on the armor. The armor remains silent. Episode 13, The Whirlpool That Is Passion, End. But one more. Your Highness, what are you looking at? Dark clouds.
The shard's energy is gathered. According to the Confessari research, a device like this able to manipulate the Regenium's reactions will also be able to control that piece of
Originium. The Dukes have begun mobilizing their forces in a few days.
No, I don't mean the clouds here. What's about to happen in Londinium is set in stone. Manfred, you were born in Kasdel. What does it look like in your memories?
It was already the hub unit of your nomadic city while I was growing up. My memories of the place, the sky was always overcast, even worse than Victoria's skies to be honest. There was always a pungent stench of industrial waste in the air.
Would you call that place home?
I would.
Really? I was thinking how we Sarkas always travel within a haze. We are determined to tear the clouds apart. But when everything is finally revealed, the true calamity will follow. Will we make it in time? I hope the light I've been looking at can still shine then, even if I'm already in the depths of the darkness.
And this is where our story ends for now. But before I do and say anything else, can I just say very quickly, look who's back! Sorry. But yeah, oh my god. Let me just give you a quick play-by-play. How that specific cutscene with the Steam Knight and Ellerdale went when I was reading for the first time through this part. So beginning with just showing the picture that we've seen for the first time when our team reached Londinium, like the outskirts of the the city and stuff like that, that image that's in the background, and thinking to myself, okay, we're back here. Then the two Sarkas appear and I'm like, okay. The two of them start talking and it's obvious it's the two guys from the beginning of the story that were literally burning books to cook soup. And I'm like, alright, why are we back with these two? What is happening? Who is about to show up, or what is about to show up? What is happening here? This is definitely a build-up for something. Because you brought these back and they're definitely doing something. So continuing this scene and then hearing the Steam Knight in the back, I was already like just butt clenching slowly. Like, okay, are we finally gonna see what happened where the Steam Knight was the entire time? Because again, that bastard did not appear again since he rushed in to save Horn's team in the previous chapter. And on top of it, not at a single point during this entire chapter have we actually mentioned him at all. So what the hell? Well, yeah, he's back. He did some things. He apparently busted up those two Sarkas and then powered on and went to sleep. And then Ellerdale showed up. And the moment her silhouette appeared, I think at that moment my butt cheeks compressed a diamond. That's all I can say for that moment. I think my butt cheeks compressed a diamond. That was... the fuck? I was, saying you haven't showed me the corpse the entire time since she was apparently dead. Left for dead, at least, in the catacombs. And she's alive! Which, by the way, brings me up to an interesting train of thought. We've been discussing this throughout this chapter and in comments as well, throughout the parts. What if, and hear me out, what if she is the long-lived one? Or one of the long-lived ones, if there are maybe multiple ones? But yeah, what if she is the long-lived one? Again, Noel brought it up that he didn't know that he is a long-lived until, he was starting to getting pretty old and nothing was essentially happening with him, so he was like, oh, well. But yeah,
What if she didn't know that she is a long-lived one until something happened in the catacombs? Who knows? Maybe the Steam Knight literally killed her on the spot there, but she just came back to life? Again, we don't have an explanation. Even Noelle doesn't have an explanation to how do you become long-lived. Is it inherited like genetics, or does it just randomly happen like a mutation? Who the hell knows? We don't know. I'm just posing it here as a theory. What if she is one? She's back. I'm definitely interested to see what is happening. She's definitely with the Steam Knight. That is exciting. That is interesting. They seem to be somehow communicating, maybe potentially. Now it makes more sense why the knight rushed in to save Hornstein back then, if she was giving him commands. That is, of course. But you know, well, I guess we'll see in the future chapter. I really hope this is gonna be expanded upon in the future chapter, because I mean, they didn't drag her back for nothing, right? Including the Steam Knight. So let's see what happens there. I am just excited. I am just excited because I've been saying that she's alive. Sorry. Anyway. Anyway, this chapter in general was amazing. So many good moments, so much emotional stuff from start to finish. Damn. Reveals, true names given. And then these final moments as well, with Amiya shattering one of the rings and just telling the Sarkas off. Sorry, the Sarkas, the Sanguinarch off. Oh, yes. More, please. Now I'm even more hyped for the next chapter in a couple of months, and I will be a patient boy, and I will wait. I will wait until we are close. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to hear anything about it, and I will wait because there is still the bubble event, and I want to keep myself nice and unknowledgeable about any of that until we get there. But yeah, before oh my god, before I go into the ramble about the chapter further, very quickly, just to go back to my bingo card, if you want to put it that way, of the stuff that I put down before we headed in. Two things didn't happen. Still, the one thing being us directly either fighting or dealing with the Nachtseher army did not happen. The entire chapter, the battle stages essentially are just us fighting Sanguinarch enemies and the Theramood guards, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Obviously not counting the boss and the mini-boss of the chapter, but still, they're not part of the Nachtseher army, but you know what I mean. Didn't deal with them. Maybe that's gonna be part of the next chapter. They're still there, obviously. They're still waging war against the Dukes, so maybe they're still gonna be in the background. Who the hell knows? But outside of hearing about it, we haven't really seen anything, which is kind of crazy, honestly, now that I think about it. So I'm guessing they're keeping it for something in the next chapter, probably. The other thing that, again, nothing happened with it, is the Realm Blade. The Sigh of Kings, Kingasika, is still just a hunk of metal. Nothing happened, no symbol of unity, no nothing. The symbol of unity turned out to be just literally siege and that little box that is the identification code for the exemplars. So the sword is still just a sword, nothing really special about it, just that it has history on it. I do now wonder though, however, mentioning the sword, if considering Gawain was there observing Siege as she rally the people under her, if he will now finally stand shoulder to shoulder with Siege and like in the good old days in the past, go into battle with her. That would be sick. But I guess that is speculation or prediction for the next chapter. Maybe it's gonna happen. Maybe the two of them are actually gonna, you know, actually communicate after such a long time, like exchange words. I would love to see that. The other things pretty much all happened. Tallulah interest in Eblana was, well, not really elaborated on, but definitely insinuated there that Tallulah is definitely aware of Eblana, and she is definitely wary of Eblana, and the clash between the two definitely happened there right at the end, and oh boy. I guess to quote a famous quote, let them fight. Let them fight. I want to see that one. Now that is a fight I want to see. That is a fight I want to see animated. Those two could go absolutely insane. Damn. Also, Eblana is so broken mind yandere, it is ridiculous. That blush and that stupid laugh when she was thinking about a Draco outside of her family. No. Go away. Shoo. Shoo. Go into your basement. Leave Tallulah alone and leave your sister alone. Go away. Someone else deal with this psycho. But yeah, interesting. I do wonder if it's gonna have something more in the next chapter, or if it's gonna be maybe a side story that's gonna deal with that. But I would definitely love to see more about that clash. Hopefully that will be something. The other point on the big list was Allerdale still being around. Well, I guess that's answered. Now, the other point, the Damatzis. Or the Damatzis? I don't even know anymore. I still believe that there are two separate Damatzis at this point, and one seems to be more a bit of the... I don't know. In his shell kind of deal scenario. When he was talking to Kal'tsit there, he kind of was like, I guess this is it, this is what I want to do now. Kind of reacting on impulse. Still, they're still technically the same being, even though they split into two separate, like, clusters. There's probably two different clusters at this point, but they still look the same, both of them, if it's really both of them. I don't know. To me, it feels like there's two different ones. Because the one that was engaging the doctor definitely felt like there was some malice coming from that guy. And this one feels just like, I'm here. You know, whatever, shrug. But yeah, I guess we'll see where that leads. Considering that one Damatzi is at least now with Rhode Island, and I guess we'll see if that leads to something or nothing. But curious. And now for, I swear, this one was honestly the highest on my list of this is ridiculous. I'm just pointing it out there because they mentioned different dimensions and shit. I'm just gonna put this out there and see if it happens. Holy hell, dimension hopping. Or rather, in this case, I guess it's history hopping. It's still hopping into another space and time, so I guess I was kind of right with that. And I can't believe I was right with that. Jesus Christ, that whale is insane. But yeah, holy shit, a place beyond civilization. Well, that was wild. This is all I can say to that. And speaking of the whale as well, one portion of his conscience is being in that pocket watch. The other being with someone we know very well. Oh, that was amazing. Well, they already insinuated when they said lock and key earlier in the story, but having a direct confirmation as well now. Will this lead to something? I am excited. At least we know now. At least we know now the origin and true identity of who is in the lock and key, right? That is cool. That has been around for a long while, and I remember people speculating on that thing for a long ass while, and now we've made direct contact. Exciting. And I do wonder what the endpoint of the wager is gonna be as well, considering all of that. But okay, let's go in order. Let's go in the proper order of this chapter from the get-go. First off, the POVs were amazing. However, I do hope they will not go too wild on the POVs in the future. I do hope they keep a balance between regular and POV. However, POVs are super great for freshening up the story format and stuff like that. It was amazing just seeing the story evolve through another person's eyes and their inner thoughts and how they feel. Something you usually wouldn't really get unless the character says it out loud. So this was really good, seeing all of those. Especially the two surprise ones. The two surprise ones here at the end. Holy shit, those were not POVs I was expecting ever to get. Are we gonna get a Theresis POV in the future? Oh my god, that would be insane. I could see them do a Theresa POV. But I would be down for a Theresis one. Damn, that would be sick. Pardon. But yeah, POVs are great. Keep a balance. And you have a winner. Then the... Where to begin, actually? Seeing Guard and having his face revealed. I already touched upon this earlier, but seeing his face reveal and so on and so forth. Like I said, I was expecting some kind of tragic death for him to happen. Not in this chapter, like I said. I expected this to happen in the next one, or maybe the one after that, but not in this one. It was definitely being built up as something will happen to him. But yeah, again, sad. Sad that he had to also go, so the others can move on. But damn, I do hope he met with the other guys now in wherever the hell they go when they die, and if they even go somewhere when they die. And the other guys explained to him, hey, we were just looking out for you, buddy. You were worrying a bit too much. But they can all hang out now. I guess that's a good thing. But yeah, definitely made me sad. Definitely made me sad to see him go like that. Damn. Now the other points. Our doctor doing some crazy shenanigans and trying. Oh my god, the doctor trying to hit a Confessari, and not just even a normal Confessari, a heavily genetically modified Confessari with a goddamn rock. I mean, all props to the doc for trying that. That was ballsy as hell. And that crazy chick, oh, she be on another level. She doesn't show it, but she be on another level, especially with all the abilities she has in her now. Whew. She's gonna be a threat. And speaking of threats, I do love how the Confessari has been built up slowly throughout the stories, all the way up until this point as a threat in the background, and definitely showed his face now, and definitely made himself known as, I'm a big bad, you should keep me in mind when we go into the future. And I do wonder when we're gonna deal with him, because honestly, I predict the next chapter is probably gonna dive into Theresis and Theresa, considering we are going straight for Londinium now. In what manner and what way, I do not know yet, but let's keep that for later. Still, Confessari, as a big bad, cool. Generally speaking though, absolutely disgusting, and please beam him into dust. Someone, please. Goddamn. Creepy little shit. But yeah, that was interesting. Then Siege. I love that they finally made her do something. She finally picked up the slack. She finally moved on. She organized people. She rallied people. She picked up the mantle. Even though she doesn't want to be obviously a regent or anything, from the looks of it, of course. But she definitely picked up the mantle of leadership. That is definitely what happened. And damn, it was such a cool moment. Such a goddamn cool moment. And as well, the name Exemplars, which again, it sounds very similar to Templars, but you know, semantics. What else? What else to go into? Amiya talking to the spirits. Well, how many more times do the young ones have to tell the old ones, no? I do this my way. But yeah. Amiya standing her ground towards the Myriad Souls was super cool to see. Again, even though it happened again, still super cool. Now, probably one of the surprise POVs, even though not really surprised, still a bit surprised, the one for Magdalene, aka Vendela. I did not expect her to have so many, actually. Actually, I was wondering if she's gonna be even in the story. Like one of the units that we pulled from the banner hasn't even appeared, but Vendela definitely had quite a big role in the story, and they focused on her for quite a long time, which was actually surprising, I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty good. It was pretty good, just surprised that they did so much with her. Especially because she's a completely new character and stuff like that. But yeah, cool. That was definitely cool to see, and damn, someone give the girl a hug, please. She definitely needs it, even though she will probably blankly react to that, considering how mind-broken she is at this point. Leto. Damn, body, again. All I can say is, never did I expect to see him as a POV in this chapter and actually move something. I do not know how I feel about him murdering the old guy in the sanatorium, but I guess that was a mercy kill essentially, considering the guy would have probably been murdered by Sarkas anyway. Especially if Leto made his decision already there that he's gonna go to the Sanguinarch and die. I mean, he knew he's gonna die when he approaches the Sanguinarch. So, I guess if he goes, the old man would also probably go after that when the Sarkas find him. Because they would not have patience with the old man, the senile old man, so I guess that was a mercy kill. Clovicia as well, speaking of Leto, being finally shown that she is still alive and well in the city, and she is doing something in the city as well. Cool! I guess we're gonna get to see more of that in the next chapter as well when we get back to Londinium. But okay, she's doing stuff. And the Sanguinarch POV is probably the biggest surprise of this whole chapter, when it comes to the POVs at least. Like, hot damn! That was the last person I expected to see a POV from, but damn, it was actually interesting to see that one. Out of all of the POVs, probably the most interesting one to see his inner thoughts, how he approaches stuff, see him talk to other Sarkas as well, learn in general about him, how old he is, that he actually killed one of the early kings of Sarkas, his brother, who was a Tikas, and that's where he got the blood from. And yeah, so much cool shit. The whale as well. I said this already, I think, in an earlier part, but I love creepy shit. I grew up with horror movies from an early age on, and they don't really faze me anymore. And I love creepy, like, not really, you know, disturbing art, just, you know, the H.R. Giger type of art kind of stuff, that kind of creepy shit. I do enjoy it. I find that really cool looking. And this whale definitely falls, well, doesn't really, I wouldn't say fall into a H.R. Giger kind of scenario, but definitely falls into like a very creepy horror kind of scenario, and I do love me some of that, and the Sanguinarch did provide extra bonus material to that with coating his skeleton in blood. Now that is shit I want to see. I was actually surprised that they didn't do kind of like a CG where the skeleton is partially covered in blood or some shit. But the tendrils are already doing it. It's fine. That's enough. That was already creepy enough. But that Pheromotes are resilient. These things can live even when it's just a skeleton and nerves. Damn. That's all I can say to that. Damn. Hopefully they elaborate on that a bit more in the future. That is definitely very interesting lore there. And speaking all of lore, this skeleton definitely delivered with some lore exposure and history and a lot of other things as well on top of it, which would be too long to go into this outro. But finally, the scenes with Amiya, Logos versus the Sanguinarch were so good. Actually, the Sanguinarch getting actually for the first time like literally frustrated, pissed at them, declaring his true name, his intentions. He went through some lengths to get rid. He resented that crown. Holy shit, or rather, he resents that crown. My god. He went through so many troubles just to get rid of the crown for good that he even went to another dimension to get rid of it and still failed. Rip Bozo, I guess. But damn. But yeah, again, the moment Amiya shatters one of the rings and commands him to stand down, oh, so good. And then later, uniting her voice with, she pretty much did the same thing that she did with Shen in the past, where she dug into Shen's mind and copied her sword techniques and the sword as well. She kind of did the same thing, I would say, there with Logos when he told her to resonate with him, and the two of them started singing the eulogy for the Sanguinarch. It feels like she did literally the same thing, where she dived into Logos' essential being as a banshee, and she emulated what he was doing and was helping him boost up the curse that they were chanting. So cool. Actually surprised that we didn't get a Amiya altar here, but that's a future thing, as is already shown and seen. But yeah, that will be a topic for the future. We'll see how that evolves and what that entails. That definitely has some spice behind it. But I think I'm gonna leave it at that. This is already a long enough outro, and this is already a long enough video itself. All I can say for the future, I don't really, prediction-wise, I don't really have much to say what could be coming. Considering how much stuff got elaborated here, concluded here, the only things left essentially are just to go into Londinium, deal with whoever the long-lived one is in Londinium, and find that out, and I already said some stuff about that. Deal with Theresis and Theresa. See about the Originium. The Originium. The one in the quotes that they've been posting. The original Originium. That is a mouthful. The OG Originium? I do wonder, considering it was brought up, I do wonder what the heck that thing is supposed to be. And I cannot really wrap my head around it. They kept elusively talking about it, but nothing specific. They talked about it like it's something completely different. That it was the cause of the first ever infected as well. Like a progenitor to the infected or whatever the hell. Who knows? There's so much. This is the one... Oh, speaking of that stuff. Kal'tsit never finished her sentence. Hypergryph, what the hell is happening? What happened to you? You prevented Kal'tsit from monologuing! The hell? This was the one time I wanted her to talk! What? What happened there? She never finished that sentence! Only later did she, like, talk about that Originium, but nothing specific. I guess that is the cause why the Sarkas are so susceptible to Originium? Because of that OG Originium? I do wonder, however, what the hell it is and what it entails. Is it a living creature? Is the theory that Originium is alive gonna be actually viable? Are we gonna see some crazy shit? I do hope we're gonna see some crazy shit in the next chapter. Actually, I just had a super crazy thought. What if they open the door to this progenitor of Originium? Oh god, why did that pop into my head right now? Why did Xenoblade 2 pop into my head right now? Not gonna spoil anything about Xenoblade 2. I'm just gonna say, in Xenoblade 2, there is a character who is basically dead, and they're in ice. That's all I'm gonna say. Why am I bringing this up? I was thinking just now, original Originium. And the thought popped into my head, considering that, as we know, again not going into too many details, as we know, Priestess is very intertwined with Originium. What if... God. What if this original piece of Originium is just her encased like in amber in a Originium chunk that is not like the other crystal but is something entirely different, just looks like it? What do we find Priestess in a chunk of Originium? Encased like a goddamn mosquito in Jurassic Park in amber. Anyway, if that comes through, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I think I'm gonna scream. I already pressed out a diamond when Alardale appeared. I don't know. I might actually pop a blood vessel when that happens. If it happens. Whatever. But yeah. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, next chapter we actually dive into... Either in that story or in the Babel story we dive into why Sarkas are so susceptible to Originium. They definitely left it out there and didn't want to elaborate. And as we know, we have the Babel story incoming in like 5-ish months from now. So probably gonna dive into that. Maybe it definitely will dive into themes that we have heard about so far quite a lot, and it's gonna elaborate and probably gonna deliver on a shit ton of lore. But that's for the future. And I have no idea what's in there. We'll see together. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm gonna cut it here. I think I've talked enough, and I think I yapped too much. We'll see what happens in the next chapter. I'm looking forward to it. The units that they've revealed for the next story chapter are definitely looking spicy. And that's all I'm gonna say. And I do have questions for one of them. One of them is a question mark. And I do not know how I feel about it, but I want to know the reasons. I am interested. Let's put it that way. I am interested to see what the hell the explanation is gonna be behind that. But that's for the future. And I'm not gonna say anything anymore, because units is literally the only thing I know about the future chapter. At least the pullable or obtainable units. That's it. But yeah, anyway. Thank you very much, guys, for listening, and if you've stuck around with this ramble on here at the end, hey, thanks! I hope it was entertaining. Oh boy. But yeah, thank you very much for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed this entire thing through. If you did, please consider leaving a like if you did not do it already. If you did, thank you very much. Much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. There's a lot more incoming. Considering when this video is going live, Zwillingsturme is already live on the game. And I'm gonna be diving into it and slowly recording the parts. And yeah, please look forward to that. I am definitely looking forward to that story and seeing where it takes us and what is gonna be happening. So yeah, consider subscribing and stick around. There's a lot to discover. And yeah, and if you want to support me more directly, as I always say, there are memberships on the channel. However, no video will ever be behind a membership. They are literally there in different price tags just to be like a tipping jar every month. So thank you for all the members that are already using it, and much appreciated, guys. And yeah, thank you, enjoy, and I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye-bye.